right, Will. You're way down on power on me.
Okay, viewers, I am sitting here in my 981 GT4. It made its debut on the channel last week, and I'm sitting here with somebody you may or may not recognize. If you've been around the channel for a long time, you know this dude sitting to my right. His name is Udo, and he owns a cobalt blue 964 that people just go wild for. But like me, he has transitioned his interest away from air-cooled and to water-cooled, namely the GT4 platform. And so this video is a little different than the usual, but I think it could be fun. And so Udo brought his 718 GT4, which we're going to share with you in a moment. And he and I just want to talk a little bit about the differences. And I thought we'd start, Udo, with like, if you're completely transparent, why are you moving away from air-cooled?
Yeah, a little bit like you. I'm type A, I'm thorough, I go through the cars like you do. I drive them, I meet people, I use them as much as I can. I get really enriched from it. And I've been very fortunate to have a couple of 964s. I can kind of compare that. I know what mods work well for me in the car. And it's basically come up close to 20 years where I've been in a 964. And you know, I daily drive the car. So I have the experience. I love it. I know everything about it. They work so well, and if it was my one car for the rest of my life, I would still be happy. But I guess over time, I just kind of started with going out on the club runs, different cars, riding the GT cars in our rallies. You know, our 964s and 993s do well with those cars. So we're all mixing it up a little bit, and just slowly over time, just something different. And I just couldn't believe when I got in the car how different it really was as an experience.
It is. I shared that with the introductory video. I mean, these are just so good. And I'm going to let you drive this in a minute so you can talk to us a little bit about like the difference between your 718 and this one. But I got to say, man, you stuck in a 964 for 20 years. Like two of them, I know.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me. These viewers know I've got such ADHD. Man, I've been getting a lot of heat, by the way, a lot of hate for that.
The more experiences you can have, whether it's in one car or 10 different cars, it doesn't matter.
That's it. Dude.
And Will, you get out and drive them, you use them. You're not just buying a car, drive it a little bit, try to sell it off, make money, and not do anything to the car. You know the experiences. And now, look, we got out today just to do this and hang out a little bit. That's so fun and worth it. So that gets added to it too. But really what it is that I stayed in the 964 for the same reason it's really popular right now. It really is that bridge car between the old and new. Now having the 718 for a couple months, I can see it feels like a similar type of car, like just the mechanical feeling of it. The Porsche engineering behind these cars is just amazing. That's number one. So there was just so much to go, and you know how the air-cooled cars are, all of them, not just 964s. You always go out and you feel like you're learning something, you're doing something, you're improving, it focuses you. You just don't get it in anything else unless you step up to one of these.
That's it, man. But I'll tell you, there's a video made by dudes at Savage Geese, and they say that these cars will give you like public road blue balls or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So what they were meaning is, hey, you really can't get the most out of the car, so you get bored on public roads. I don't agree, but I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Another reason why basically this was the only replacement for the mechanical old cars that we normally drive. People, you see the reviews, everything is so balanced and precise and tuned on these cars. It's not just that it has power, it has a good stick shift, it has a good steering, it has the brakes, suspension, aero. So with all that together, even when you are using it lower, at a lower speed, or like now we're in traffic, it feels alive.
I agree, man. Now one dude in my comments did say, don't take it on the track because then you're going to know what the capabilities are and then you may get bored on public roads. So I'm not going to track this car, and I'm not a track guy anyway. So maybe that's good advice.
I'm going to have to track a little bit because it does snap fast, and I need to learn a little bit more about that in a safe environment.
Yeah.
But you know, there's just always something to learn. There's always something to do, and you can have fun always with these cars, even just cleaning and looking at them in the garage at night.
So how do you feel about these seats, man? Because you got the 18 ways.
Yeah. I come from a bicycle racing background, so man, you know, seats, that was a big thing, right? So these are beautiful. The inserts you have are insane. I have my idea which one I would want to do. I love the personalization. I love you can just in and out with it too. But the seats that I have, the 18 ways, my wife is also a different size of me, much smaller person. She can get in the car and drive super comfortably, locked in, and I can drive. And that's always been a big thing for me. And that was one of the reasons why I also went to a newer car, for my wife to enjoy the car a little bit more people to enjoy it.
So you're daily now though too. So that's why those seats make a lot of sense. I don't know that
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, to daily this car, I don't know. I mean, I could give it a 70% chance that I could literally daily this. I mean, I think the seats would get old, but your seats got to be money, man. I can't wait to try them.
Well, you know, when I got in the car, I immediately told you what I thought about the seat. The lower bolsters are wider and not grabbing me. My car, I can adjust them. The upper bolsters, I'm thin enough here where I'm a little bit loose. In my car, I can squeeze myself uncomfortably. I can adjust lumbar. Nice turn. Wow. Yeah. So good.
Freaking doing 90.
Yeah. And I also wanted heated seats because I do daily it, and I love having the window open in the winter morning, cruising to work, and like it just feels great listening to that induction noise. And the last thing is, I sometimes have to take other people in, and I don't want to be the guy that says, "Oh, you have to get in this way." I don't want to have to like, "Hey, here's how you do this to get in a car." It starts looking just too weird, and the car does so much other stuff so exciting that I don't need to add that drama to it.
Well, let's go back to the 964 for a moment, man. Like 20 years, and again, like I just got to say, your cobalt blue car is really my favorite 964 around. Do you think you're gonna miss it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You know, I wish it was N+1 all day long with everything. But I think the thing is I can feel so good because I did use it so much. And the other part is not just using it, but the modifications and the maintenance and things. It just feels like all at the right point. You know, I've done all the really road going suspension things like you always do to your cars, and like it becomes so alive and fun, and I like that. But I think what I want to do is expand that feeling and include my wife and other people more, go on a road trip, and just have a more modern car for it.
You know what's nice? You don't have to worry about some leak all over your floor, some sporadic starting issue. And you know, I still love air cooled. I'm going to keep 1993 in the garage, but God, man, they have beaten me down.
You've had a little less luck than I have. Fortunately, my car has been pretty good.
Yeah.
The previous owner, Rudy, he was an amazing person. Before that, Nathan sold the car to Rudy, so it had a really good custodialship prior to me owning it. It had been well taken care of, so that's nice. But you know, you've worked on these cars. You can bring them all back to a really good state. It just takes time, and if you want to have one of these things, you end up just like with your children. You work on it. You do it. It's not this many dollars or that. It's the whole thing together.
Well, I'm pretty anal about bringing them up. Like I want them to factory standards. Like that's just what I want. All right, dude, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, man. Don't scare me. I'm a terrible passenger.
I'm happy to come and drive your car more often so you can. Wow, it sounds good. I definitely have to recalibrate my foot to the clutch. Wow. All right, so this is my direct impressions from having driven my car here. Wow, yeah, it's different. Wow, interesting.
So tell me how.
Okay, your steering feels heavier, for sure. Definitely heavier. I mean, like I notice my steering in it, but it's like, yeah, it's really nice. Very rock solid feeling. Wow, that clutch is so heavy. But it's good. It's very short. And
yeah, take a left. Just be careful. You got blind curves up here.
But in getting in the car immediately, I actually can use your clutch better than mine, even though
think
it's heavier.
the engagement point is just spot on.
It is. It feels really good.
Yeah.
So all you guys out there with the clutch thing, no worries. This is awesome.
Thought that was law, didn't you?
I wasn't quite sure, but it was. We're already in Mexico, so
take a right here.
Sounds really good.
By the way, there's cyclists out here, as I'm sure there are around your area.
And I'm a cyclist too. You can see my t-shirt. Right turn?
Right turn.
right, Will, you're way down on power on me.
Yeah.
Way down.
Well, it's enough.
I had to say that.
What the fuck?
I'm teasing him a little bit.
What the fuck am I going to say? Right? Like you got 4-liter
Teasing
3.8.
you.
So is it a
That's
tune?
the only hit you're going to get in this car. This thing is unbelievably awesome.
Is it? You think it's displacement or a tune or what?
You tell me when we switch it out. But steering is so good here. It's a notch heavier, but oh yeah, it's good. Buckets in here. I can't, I know you love your buckets, right? You've had videos on them. This will be really fun to have you get in and get adjusted, which might take a little bit, right? Right or left?
I'd take a left here. We're going to go out in the country, man.
So it's interesting. The car sounds a lot better outside, right? With the merge pipes or whatever they did with these.
Yeah.
Inside is not that different. Mine is louder and has more induction noise.
Okay.
So, and probably whatever filtered out some of the exhaust, but it'll be interesting what you think on that. The thing is, there are options that are cool. Ceramics are cool, the buckets, everything has a purpose, but the other options they have, like the regular brakes or the 18 ways are also really good. So don't spend too much time criticizing one. You may want one over another. But the last point I found out was that I was able to buy my car for an extreme deal because it had 18 ways and steels.
Yeah.
So you can go against the market that way too. So there's always that opportunity in the Porsche land. In every car, there are options people want and ones they'll just heavily discount or disregard, and you can drive that car for years.
Whoa.
Oh.
He just killed a bird.
Oh, that was just cruising too.
Let's pretend that it just got knocked out. It's going to recover. It's going to be fine.
Edit that out. People are going to
damn,
boycott your channel now and send me hate mail.
PETA's going to hit us.
But the point is, there are amazing options for the cars, lots that everyone wants. Deviated stitching. Like I have my car, what's it called? Rubber nose on my dash. I don't have a deviated stitching on my dash. Now, I'd love to have that, but my car didn't come with it. So I know most potential buyers want all those kind of options. So.
I mean, I got to say, all due respect to the 18 ways, from a usability standpoint, I totally get where you're coming from. Woo! Well, man, that's. I hear you. I can't wait to test your power. That's enough for me. I just feel like the carbon buckets add value. They're expected for the car. I mean, it's all about what the use case is.
Nothing's expected.
There you go.
You have a Porsche. The person we're driving by that's waving to us that loves this car right now doesn't know any of that. It would never know. It is important. I'm not discounting anyone's view, but
all right,
we're spending too much time. People are spending too much time in that area.
Chatter in the groups and on the forums, buckets. They want buckets. Is that fair?
For sure.
Yeah.
Or the most vocal and 90%. But I'm honestly not that. Since we're talking about it, I'm not that impressed with it.
Yeah.
I'm moving around a lot more. You're not going to do that in my thing. And if we could be driving in the winter with the windows down, with the heated seats, and the lumbar. There's no lumbar adjustment here. You're set. So I don't know. It's fun. It's part of the journey. It's part of making the car your own. I mean, that's what the 964s were about, right? And the other cars, doing the little mods, upgrades, different things like that. So, that's in our blood for sure. And again, these seats are gorgeous. I would do the same thing. I would be contacting that company right away to get my version. But it becomes like when you tell people, oh, I got these $8,000 seats, and then I had to go send out special cushion inserts to make it comfortable, and my mother-in-law can't get in the car, and I do inserts.
Well, look, I mean, that was the bitch of it. I gambled and lost when the things showed up.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. But I was I was freaking out. These seats don't fit me. This hurts, and then thank God I was able to adjust them a little bit.
Well, what I like about you always is you're honest about it, and you said that, you got in there, it's great, you're excited about the car, and then a couple hours in, you're like, what? And then you build up strength for it. Again, bicycle racing, you build up strength to the seat, and it's comfortable. I get it.
So how about the gear throws? Same as yours?
Same.
Okay.
Mine might have a little more plasticky feel.
Interesting.
It shifts the gates and all that the same, but there's this, just like the steering has just a little something. It's not modded,
Well,
right?
do you think it's bushings in there? I mean, yours has, what, 40,000 miles now, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, but dude, you'll know when we drive it. It doesn't feel any different.
Well, let's talk about this real quick, because this is a criticism. The long gearing. How do you feel?
I love it. I love the gearing because I can lope around in regular traffic like this. I'm in third gear, right? What, third gear in these cars supposed to be 180 miles an hour, or 118 or whatever it is. I'm going 52. The car is at 3,500. It's louder than any other car out there, and is ready to go.
I agree, man.
And it serves two purposes, because what I found is that you can be longer in second and third on these curvy roads, whereas before in a 964 I might have said, oh, I want to be in first, but that's crazy. I love it. And the flexibility, especially the 4-liter motor, it has power everywhere.
All right, how about rev match?
So I use it all the time.
Same here.
I love it. It's screwing me up a little bit when I don't use it, but it would probably be easier in this car because I think the clutch is better. Even though it's heavier, I like the feel. It's really nice. But I use it all the time.
Dude, are we cheaters?
You know, the one little thing, little side tidbit that you wouldn't think about that's so cool is with all the gears and being tight, you know, it's super precise, but every once in a while, I'm poor enough of a driver where I might go in a gear down inadvertently, and the rev match warns me.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden I hear this zoom, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's the wrong way. And the funny thing is, because the car has such a long gearing and wide rev band, even if you screw up and go down a gear instead of going up, you're not even at red line. It's crazy, right? I love it. I think they did a great job. I know it is compromised. I know Porsche, to give them credit, they would want something a little different, but they have a lot of things they have to worry about that we don't think about.
So how do you feel about this rumor that, hey, the reason they gave this long gearing was to prevent it from being better than a 911? Have you heard this?
Yeah, you know, that's been part of the conversation all the way along from whenever they had Cayman S's and they were trying to add more and more horsepower.
Yeah,
and then that Cayman R or whatever. Yeah. Man, I don't know. You know, we're around both. There's room for both. In some ways, you know, we both gravitated to this type of car too because of the size and things. So for me, what I look at it is like when I walk around, I don't go, oh, there's no weird angle, or there's no weird crease or fold or really wide panel or something weird. Like every little section of the car just is really purposeful and dialed in and elegant, really.
Yeah, I think it's gorgeous.
Oh, I can't wait till you get in my car and compare the two.
Yeah. I mean, I can't deny. Like, they're more comfortable, they're more dailyable, they're more livable.
So right now it's set up
Okay.
super comfort sofa. In case people don't know, the lower bolsters will move in and out, as well as the upper bolsters.
Well, you and I are built pretty similarly. Like, I mean, this is comfortable here. Maybe I'll adjust on the fly, but I like it.
So immediately you don't feel a lot looser or like a big negative as far as like, is it gonna hold me in?
No, and this fabric, is this Alcantara?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's super grippy, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, let's get out of here and we're gonna see. So, wow, okay. The clutch is different. Okay. It's a little louder.
Got to do your buttons.
Okay.
I need to get my controller.
Yeah, it's louder. Auto blip. That's interesting. So mine says sport, this says auto blip.
There was something where they said they couldn't change the name. They didn't have enough time before, or some purpose of that. I'm not sure. And auto start stop's got to be off too.
So first of all, this is fun as hell shooting this with you.
Yeah, it's great to get out. And that's why we have these cars.
That's it.
We get out and do things.
Yeah, I'm not a shine and show, hide it in my garage kind of guy. I know you were giving me a little bit of shit for putting PPF on it. But for me, it's like I got a shield and now I can roll guilt-free.
No, that's smart. It's good.
Yeah, you know, so your engagement point is a little... I'll use it some more before I can really articulate it. It's different. That's clear. It's odd to see the white mirror.
Yeah, I didn't ever think I'd have a white car. Though it's Porsche Motorsports history too with the white Carrera Cup cars. But it just glows and it has this Darth Vader stormtrooper thing going on. I love.
So there's no doubt this has, I'm not going to rip in my neighborhood clearly, but this has a little more pep. It's a faster car. That's all right though.
So it works well with the gearing is the thing. And I think that's what a lot of people have said. Your car is not slow. Everything is well dialed in, but then the gearing effect it shows itself more. Here, I think the gap narrows down.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it gets a little long up top. You're like, all right, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. My car.
Mm-hmm.
Steering wheel feels interesting too. The leather. It's like, you know, the core of this is the same.
Sure.
But there's just the stuff on the periphery is different.
Yeah. Well, and that's what Porsche is so good about that. That's why these cars are good. They're refined, they evolve, but they start from a good or interesting place.
You're spot on, dude. I mean, it's just, I feel like my shifter is maybe, it's a little tighter too, but it could be that it's younger.
Your shifter feels like it had a cable upgrade or some...
Yeah.
Rev it higher.
Yeah, I will. I got traffic here. You know, I'll say this, like, it's faster, but it's not stupendously faster where I'm like, oh my God, my hair's on fire. But I'll wind it out. Let me wind it out.
I was going to say, you only went to 5,000 there. It makes max power 75, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I feel it.
Where I noticed it is not immediately, but when I was going up the range, oh, beautiful little airplane, going up the range, that's when I noticed it. I don't think you notice it as much just starting, but then as you wind it.
It's funny, man. I like to sit a little further back, and I get a lot of criticism from some of the nerds out there about how you're not sitting correctly. Well, dude, I'm not on track, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the camera angle is messing it up a little bit too. You're in a really good position. You guys out there, don't worry about that kind of stuff. Let's just focus on some of the positives here. My friend Will is working really hard to bring you free stuff.
Yeah, you know what though? It's easier to criticize than create, man.
Well, and you learn from all the little comments. You just have to
it's funny.
Learn how to take it too.
Yeah, for sure. I've learned on YouTube, don't take anything personally.
I love you guys.
Yeah. All right, man.
See that?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Tires wanted to spin a little bit.
You can kick this thing out 3,500 RPM, boom.
Do you feel comfortable doing it at this point, or are you still kind of like, whoa, I don't know where the edge is?
No, it's good. It's just super fast. And, you know, these cars, the way they're set up, they communicate so much to you. And it's happening really fast, so you feel frantic. But if you just calm your mind down a little bit, you're quite all right. So. And it's just little jabs like that. I'm not taking turns at 100 miles an hour in traffic or stuff like that.
So what's the longest road trip you've done in this?
Well, I did that great thing that you've done a bunch of times.
Dang it. I'm gonna keep going. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you're fine. I did what you've done a bunch of times. I drove it home. I drove it.
Oh yeah, the fly-by.
Yeah, we had a 12-hour drive.
Who went with you?
The greatest thing is my daughter went with me on this one, and we had so much fun together, road tripping it, getting used to a new car, a new experience. You know, my kids have grown up in 964s, so they were at first questioning what the heck I was doing. And then one drive, and then my daughter was like, oh wait, it has heated seats. It has a stereo? You actually will listen to the radio in this car? And so that's part of the new experience that I want to have with it.
I mean, look, dude, it's part of the reason I love them now. I mean, yeah, it's
Rip
so
this one up. Take it first, second, third.
Yeah, dude. So it wanted to break loose. Traction control came on. Mine probably would not. It's rushing to the red line a bit faster than mine. You know, in a way, I think that you're right. It just doesn't feel as heavy. It feels a little bit more nimble. Mm-hmm. I mean, mine feels planted. There's nothing, you know, 981 GT4 is planted as hell, of course.
Yeah.
This one just feels a little bit more spry.
This is yeah.
Interesting. Is there a weight difference?
I don't really think so. I think this car, if anything, got heavier, but maybe got better mechanical grip. This is the kind of car where it just feels so alive. Like when you're on a highway and you change lanes, you want to change lanes a little faster. When you get into the turn, it just looks like when you drive behind this car, it looks like it's doing everything really fast.
Traction control again.
I think the big point I want to make here is that this car doesn't sound as good outside. Maybe to other people that we're passing, but to us inside, you never would want an upgrade of an exhaust or anything. It's pretty much there.
I think for sure. I mean, I've got the sport exhaust on my 991.2. I don't know. I think that's plenty. I would never put anything aftermarket on any of these. For me personally,
you can fine tune it, but I think one of the big criticisms, your car has definitely a better outside exhaust, and that's cool. But in the car, there's not as much noticeable difference.
You know what's interesting too? So I'm going to try to articulate this. The rev match on this doesn't create as much drag, so it doesn't engine brake as hard as mine does. It's really interesting. Like, it's doing its job. Yeah, it just doesn't. When I hit rev match, let the clutch out on mine, and it feels like it slows down a little bit. Yours doesn't.
Doesn't jerk in any.
Yeah, interesting. I guess they optimize that.
You could even go, if it had redline room, shift down in the first while you're moving at an insane speed, and it doesn't jerk.
That's weird. I think there's something wrong with that. I know it's designed for that, especially for the track, but I feel bad doing that. Yeah, so fourth gear is stronger.
Rev it, rev it, rev it, rev it, rev it. Yeah, it just let off.
Holy shit. Yeah. Now, what's interesting though, it's like this. The suspension is definitely more. The front end felt a little light. I mean, let's just say this: we just touched 3 digits right there, and
did we?
Yeah, and it just feels like yeah. But we won't talk about which 3 digits those are. Anyway, that's interesting, man. It felt a little bit light up front. What do you think about that? Have you experienced that?
No, I don't think so. Because this car, the aerodynamics on it, and the downforce and the front end. No, I'm more concerned about that in 964 at speeds than in this car. This is the one car where, like, when you're in those triple digits on that really long track straightaway where you get to experience that, it just feels hunkered down to me. I don't know. Maybe we had a little bit of a turn and those aspects.
We had some undulations.
Yeah. We are in sport mode. Do you want to try it out of sport mode? See if that's...
You know what? That may be what it was. It was hugging the road more tightly. And I never run mine.
Yeah, and you noticed your car has a bigger difference sport. I have mine on sport all the time.
Oh, really?
Not to be hardcore, but like it just feels really alive, unless the road is really broken up, and then the car is a little bit too much on the ground.
Yeah, the sport suspension.
Steering wheel. So what do you think about the leather wrap steering wheel and stuff? Is it for sport driving? You definitely want it.
I mean,
Alcantara, right?
so look, my overall take on this car is I think you bought the right one for your use case. Mm-hmm. It's very dailyable, man. Like, I mean, this steering wheel is great for that. Like the Alcantara, if you drove it, and I learned something from you, like that you can clean it deep and get it nice. I didn't really know that, but it gets nasty. Like you're worried about your hands sweat and stuff. Like with leather, you don't have to worry about that. These seats are freaking awesome.
I think the main takeaway is the buckets are badass, man. They look so beautiful, and compared to other brands that do these crazy sport buckets with weird things going on.
Like BMW, I guess they do something weird.
And your crotch and all that. They're amazing seats, no doubt. But I think the main thing is if you're looking at one of these cars and you haven't had the fortunate opportunity to sit in them much, and you feel like you hear from the chatter that you have to have them, but you're worried about your body might fit different or you have other issues, you don't need it. And don't worry, and you're not getting a lesser car. And my point would be like you might be able to take advantage of that and say to the dealer, oh, it has sofas, you need to give me 10,000 off.
That's right. That's exactly right. So what would you say the biggest difference between these two cars is?
I think this one has more power and feels sprightlier. Yours feels tighter. And it feels like a little smaller car for some reason. It feels like 1 inch smaller than my car for some reason.
So the space like across or...
Yeah, the whole thing. It just, even the way it drives and feels, it's a little different. This feels like a little bit more of an animal car to me. I don't know.
Okay.
This thing, like, it really goes.
This one, excuse me, mine just feels more planted in a way. It feels heavier. Everything does feel tighter, and I don't know that the mileage difference is what's driving that, right? So again, you've got 38 and I've got 9100. It can't be that much of a difference in terms of like how much wear and tear has been on the car. It's got to be the build.
I think this has more of a dual personality capability. Yours has like more of a one car thing, you know? And I think that's like the newer GT cars do that. They can kind of be a little bit switched off, but always feeling direct and very precise, but not frantic. And then boom, you floor it and it's frantic. And the older cars, all the way down, have more of a one personality that you're dealing with all the time.
Here's what I think. I think you and I both bought the cars that were perfect for us and what we were looking for, which is great.
And I know you're going to go home and get an intake upgrade and a couple other things.
Nah, you know, I think I'm not going to I mean, you know, I've modded the hell out of some cars, but I think I'm going to leave mine alone.
Yeah, and again, that's another thing. You know, we've come from air-cooled, where it's kind of a mix of the cars are old, so we were replacing parts, and then in some cases we have to steer the car to our preference and make it a little more direct.
Yeah, there's also this thing, and you know, I fell into it. My personal experience. I bought my 993. I start seeing what other guys are doing to their 993s. I'm getting excited about personalizing it. I don't do much for a little while, and then I start to say, oh, hey, I need a new suspension for sure because the damn ride height was ridiculous. And then, you know, I get a little bored with the plain black interior, and I'm like, oh, let me do some square weave or whatever I did, you know? But, you know, now a few years in, I'm kind of like, I'm nostalgic for the way it came from the factory. So it's funny, like, you creep back to respecting and appreciating what Porsche did.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing. Yeah. Although they do manage to build a flaw into every generation, right? So like the 981, the transmission was screwed. You know about this?
I try not to read about that.
All right, so this was 981 GT4, a certain run of them. I can't remember what year it was. It was a certain period of time. They used Getrag to do the transmission. And they made third gear out of some metal that was not able to withstand the pressures. So guys were losing third gear.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, manufacturing defect.
That would be my luck.
So guess what? Porsche had to replace tons of transmissions under recall.
Yeah.
So that's a tip for anybody looking at those cars. Like, make sure it was done. But, you know, it's just true to form. They seem to do that. How about this one? Are there any known flaws?
I'm trying not to worry about it because you can... The more you learn, everything, and you know, I 2 points for what you said. You've evolved as an owner, and you're talking about going back to a factory and everything. But because you've modded and you had old cars and new, you respect and understand the whole breadth of why you could be in those different phases.
Well, and I think
people are in each one of those phases right now, you know. And there's a car for that. My day is made happy anytime I see any of these cars and I'm around it and I meet people with it. And it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Sure, they're better, faster, newer, rare. I've seen them all. You know, we've been fortunate. We have a great community in this area. But just getting out and doing these things, and I tell you, you can get in a 914 or a 944 and cruise around, and we'd stop at a gas station and people will come up and talk to us, and it's all so fun.
Well, listen, dude, I can't thank you enough for letting me drive this car, and I'm glad you suggested doing this, man. This has been fun. We'll see how the viewers receive it, but either way, like, first of all, this is really easy to do because I think both of us have the passion. So sitting here shooting the shit about it is easy and fun, man, but thank you so much.
Oh, I enjoyed it a lot. I hope it was entertaining for everybody watching, too. Maybe a little nugget here and there. But both cars are fantastic, and again, we won because we got out today and did this. Look at this day, huh? Awesome.